become a slob. I don't know.
Damn.
Whenever it's long holidays, I just like instantly like don't want to do anything.
Yeah. Well, summer is like gonna be crazy. Hello,
Hello.
everybody.
If you can't hear us, please say it in the chat, but I think they can hear us.
Yes, sir. The meeting should also be recorded. I will also post a recording and the slide deck on our website and our Discord servers, so you guys don't have to worry about not being able to getting all the material ahead of time if you're able to miss it. That sounds good.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Adina, but if you don't know me, did you want me to be on camera?
If you want to be on camera, that'd be fine.
Yeah. And Victor, you can tell me if you want me to introduce myself, or I can just stay quiet unless there are questions, whatever you'd like. It's your show.
Of course, it's more of the, I guess in the end where we're gonna like the Q&A student panel. I'm really sorry to put you on there, but I'll let you introduce yourself afterwards as well.
Sorry, what was the last part?
I'll let you introduce yourself during the student panel section.
Okay, well, you just let me know, okay? Yeah.
Of course.
I did this last year too, and it's nice to see everyone. So yeah, I'm happy to do it.
No problem.
Thank you.
I'm also glad you're able to spare some of your time on this weekend to join us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And if students have any questions, I'm happy to answer. And I don't want to interrupt. So maybe Victor, you can cue me if an answer is needed. You know, I don't want to just interrupt. So
of course.
I'll just stand by.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right, so the people just joining, we're going to start around 12 o'clock, maybe 12:01 or something like that, a bit after 12, just wait for people to come in. And then we can start our presentation ahead of time.
How many people are you expecting? Do you know?
I mean, last time I checked, it was 80 something people.
Oh, great.
On the thing. People might be joining late or something like that, but looks like they're flocking in now.
Super.
I think it starts at noon. They're all going to start coming in right now.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Are they coming exactly at 12? Damn.
It starts at 12, so they're like, I'm going to come up.
Of course. How was your summer so far, Dina?
Me? Oh.
Yeah, how's your summer so far?
Great, thank you. Well, I'm at work, so as you know, it's our busiest time with registration coming up. So yeah, but everything's good.
Even on the weekend? Even on the weekend?
No, well, I don't work
no breaks
on the
for
weekend.
you?
I don't work on the weekends.
Okay.
Just for you.
Of course, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. My pleasure. And I'll let the students know too that there are 2 other advisors. So there's 3 of us total for those who don't know.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right, I'll wait 1 more minute and then I'll get started because the people might be coming up a tad bit late.
Victor, you're going to post this recording?
Yes, this recording will be posted on our website and I'll also post a slide deck. Do you guys also want the recording and the slide deck as well to post on your website?
Me? Are you asking me, Victor?
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I'm not sure what Matthew did last year.
I think what we did last year is we just posted on our website, and then just people just if they needed it, they just went to our website and just got the
Oh,
recording.
Yeah, you can certainly do that again.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's 12:01. I will begin the presentation. So, hey everybody. My name is Victor, and this is our first ever event happening this year. More about building a great, awesome schedule. It's more of a course information session and a Q&A panel at the end. So before we really begin, I know it's a really big transition between a university to a high school to university. And we really want to send you a really big welcome to Carleton. And we will be here to support you for your transition from high school to university. Before we begin, I would prefer to introduce our presenters firsthand. So I guess I'll start with Kelly.
Okay, so hi guys, I'm Kelly and I'm this year's Director of Community, and I'm super excited to be with the CCSS. It's my first year on the director. So, and one fun fact about myself is that I'm a 19-year-old with way too many hobbies.
All right. Hello, my name is John. I'm currently in my second year and I'm the Director of Social. One little fun fact about me is that I used to play tennis competitively.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Shirley. I'm one of the Director of Academics for the CCSS. There's a small pick on the slide, but it's okay. So I'm a current third year, and one fun fact about me is that I am a real anime fan, and I'm currently expanding my manga collection. So yeah.
That's cool. And lastly, my name is Victor. I'm currently the president of the Carleton Computer Science Society. I'm currently a fourth year CS student, and a fun fact about me is I am in 5 sports teams, and just before this presentation, I was in a Dragon Boat competition, so go crazy. So how does everything be structured? So first I'll talk about like who we really are, what's the Carleton Computer Science Society kind of really do. We're kind of, like I said before, we kind of help you guys transition from high school to university. On top of that, we can help you with some like side projects, resume building, kind of get a step into like the real world of all the career stuff as well. How this presentation, and also we're going to host many events that's happening this year. A lot of socials to meet many students in your program. We also will be doing some hackathons as well, so you can get some side projects out. And we're probably going to do some like side interviews and some resume roasts, so you can get ready for the career. And you can find all that stuff on our Discord as well. So join that. It's a really big community and all fun stuff. So how is this presentation be? Our schedule for this is more of the first 20 minutes. We're going to go through all the nitty gritty details of all the course registration, and then our last 40 minutes will be basically the student panel where you guys ask questions. We also have resources as well. So the bottom 2 links right here. We'll give you the slide decks afterwards, so you can access these resources afterwards. Okay, there's a slight issue, but anyways, before we really begin, for any like major questions for the program, please really contact the undergraduate advisors. They are paid for this job. They're very professionals for this. We're just students. We're just giving our opinions, and most of our things that presenting are from their specific website. We're just explaining it well in more of the student terms. But overall, if you have questions, talk to Adina, talk to the student undergrad advisors. They're here to help. On top of that, there's student registration assistant teams for general registration help. Just shoot them an email, go on that website, and they'll help you with your registration as well. So first thing is first, I want to be more talk about the actual financial deadlines, academic and financial deadlines. So on July 4th to 6th, that's usually when our course registration really happens. And for the August 25th, that's where our the fall payment is due. If you're taking OSAP, I think it's done for you, so you have a bit deferred. On the September 5th, we're going to have our academic orientation. We're also going to do another presentation that day, so can't wait to see you guys there as well. The last 2 dates are, I want to put more emphasis on the last 2 dates for the December 19th with the last day to register for the fall term, and on the 30th where you can lastly withdraw from fourth term. The reason why I put more emphasis on this is that you can, for example, you can technically try a course, and if you kind of don't like the specific course, you have until that date to drop the course and will not affect any. You will get a refund and it will not affect your transcript in some sort of way. So now that's basically for more of the important deadline stuff. I'll now lead it now to Shirley to talk more about courses itself.
All right, hello everyone. Thank you, Victor. So currently right now I'll be talking about the courses and specifically just the general structure and what they are at Carleton. So next slide, I guess. All right, so when you take courses at Carleton, typically your comp courses or library courses will be broken up into two components. So you have lectures and tutorials or labs. These are separate components you have to register separately on your schedule, and they are different mainly in the fact that lectures are usually longer, they are in a big classroom, and they're the part where your professor actually teaches you the material. And tutorials or labs are the smaller, shorter sections taught by TAs who will teach you essentially the extra parts of the course, maybe give you some practice. And because of their length difference, usually your midterms or longer exams are done in the courses or lectures, and your quizzes or other kind of assignments will be done in the tutorials. Next slide. Next, we have just a general course registration FAQ, which is just a series of questions that kind of tell you a little bit about this courses specifically. So first is a course and what it's worth. So in Carleton, we do a credit system. So each course typically is worth 0.5 credit. There's some exceptions that take 1 credit, but those are usually longer and take up more time. One course will last, so the 0.5 credit course will last 1 term, which is 4 months. And usually a school year is consisted of a fall and a winter term, so 2 terms. So because of this, when you register, when your registration time comes, you should definitely register for both your fall and winter term. This helps you better organize your courses and also make sure you actually get your courses, because if you do them late, you might not get the course you want. And next we have 2000 level courses. Courses in Carleton will have a level or kind of a course code. So 2000 level courses, a lot of them will have prerequisites, so 1000 level courses that you have to take, but some of them will not have this prerequisite, so you can take them in the first year if you feel like you want to. And the next are how many 1000 level courses. So 1000 level courses are obviously no prerequisite courses, first year courses, and you can take 7.0 credits, which are usually 14 courses. And the last question is, can you take less than 5 courses or less than 2.5 credits in a term? Yes, you can take more, you can take less. It all depends on your personal needs, but do keep in mind that if you have OSAP or any other kind of financial loan or anything else, you might need to be a full-time student. And so definitely take your course planning a little more carefully, as it could affect those things, their status. All right, next we have the Matter series courses. They're essentially kind of like a review course for you to review material related to math or comp. The info regarding them is on the screen. And if you want to prepare more for your first year at Carleton, you want to prep better, then definitely register them if you want. And get registered, and they are done in August. Next, we can move on to actual courses themselves. In your degree, you'll have to take some math courses. So specifically, the mandatory first-year math courses are calculus and linear algebra. And because they're first year, they're mainly content that you might have already learned in your high school. So keep that in mind. And the next, we also have engineering versus science math. In Carleton, there's a lot of courses that teach similar content. And you definitely make sure you read the course calendar and their course description. Because when you take certain minors or other kind of major kind of changes, you might need to take certain courses that have to fit in this minor. For example, physics minor require you maybe to take a higher level math course, which teaches more stuff. All right, next we'll move on to actual first year comp courses, probably the content that you are looking for. So all of their information is on the screen. I won't talk too much about them. The main part I want to talk about here is the Z section for 145, 146. If you look at the 145 and 146, the material they teach, and you feel like maybe you already have some basics, you already know a little bit of programming, and you don't want to have to take 2 different courses, maybe consider the Z section. It's kind of like an accelerated way of taking them, so you don't have to take 2 terms in order to get those material in your lectures. So if you want to do them in just like a quick way, then definitely consider the Z section. Next, we have the second year comp courses. And again, all their material and what they're teaching is on the screen. So I won't definitely look at them later if you want. One thing I do want to note here is STAT 2507, which is the Intro to Stat Modeling. This is the 2000 level course we mentioned before that can be taken in first year as it doesn't have a prerequisite. If you feel like you're prepared and you feel like this is something you want to consider, then definitely perhaps consider putting this course on your first year schedule if you want. Next, we have the override requests, which are generally just requests you make if you feel like there's something wrong with your schedule, or if you want to change your schedule. If you have a course you want to take, but it says you don't fit the requirement, but you feel like you do, you can make this request. If you want to register for a lab or tutorial and you don't for some reason, then definitely you can make this request as well. Definitely make sure you make this request as soon as possible, because the earlier you do it, obviously the earlier you get your response and the earlier you get the changes you want on your schedule.
Hello. So my name is John. I'll be covering it from here. I'll mostly be talking about scheduling, a bit about the audit, and what your prerequisite tree might look like. So I made this presentation from, most important to least important. Most important is, add in all possibilities, and the least important would be something like Rate My Prof, which isn't as trustworthy. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing you're going to want to do when you're making your course schedule is you're going to add in all the possible courses you want to do in that semester. So for you, it might be Comp 1405 and Math 1007. You could also add 1805 or Stat 2507. It's completely up to you. Next. Something else you should also do is check the course syllabus and location. Is it, online friendly? Can you do it from a distance? And as for location, if you have 2 classes back to back, you might not want to sprint across campus in a 10-minute time period. And also the grading scheme is important. Is it more lean towards tests or is it more lean towards assignments? On the left for the grading scheme, I have the Calc 2007 class. And on the right, the grading scheme is something like Comp 2402. Next. You should also ask yourself, do you want to do morning classes? Some people can't stay awake during morning classes. I am certainly one of them. So don't be alarmed or be ashamed if you can't. Next slide. Also might want to ask yourself, do you want to do evening classes? Some people like to hang out more in the evenings, or they're just more productive and want to do their homework during the evenings. That's totally fine too. Next slide. And it's also important to have some time for lunch. Even though we're university students and we're constantly grinding through courses, you also gotta, keep healthy and stuff. Yeah, so always have time for lunch. Next slide, yeah. And also your time tickets can be a little messy. So luckily first years have most priority registration, but if you're a day later than the first person that registers, there are probably around 100 or 200 people that registered before you already. And that means that a course might be filled up already. So always be prepared to scrap a schedule and maybe make a new one or compromise on the spot before it fills up too. And second is no schedule is perfect. No matter how hard you try, you can't always get what you want. For me, I had an 8:30 psychology class on Fridays. It didn't work out for me. No schedule is perfect. Next slide. And the last is Rate My Prof. You can check out Rate My Prof, but it's heavily skewed. Every year in some terms, some profs get very low ratings, and then the next term they get really high ratings. So it's up to you whether you want to trust it or not. Personally, I recommend asking others or other upper years what they thought of the prof, and also check out, has the prof taught the course before? Is it the course that's hard, or is it the prof that's making it hard? Usually it's the former. Next slide. So on to how to check prereqs. So there are a couple different ways to check the prerequisites for certain courses. The first way is to check through the undergraduate calendar. It has a list of courses and its prerequisites. The second way is to use the student timetable registration builder, where you can actually click on the name of the course and it'll open up a dropdown. And to your bottom right, you should see something like prerequisites for Comp 2401 is Comp 1006 or Comp 1406. Yeah, next slide. You can also use something like a program prerequisite chart, but this one is specialized for a software engineering stream, and it's also outdated. And I think the most easy way is to, once again, use the undergraduate calendar. It is the Bible in terms of what your prerequisites are and are not. This is just a very flimsy visualization of what it might have looked like a couple of years ago. Yeah. Next slide. And we also have changing your program elements. So if you want to change your stream, or you want to add a minor, or you want to change from majors to honors, you can go to Carleton Central, and then in the Carleton Central page, you should click Student Online Applications, and then you can change your program elements. On the bottom right, I have a picture of what the change program elements looks like. You can see you can change from honors to majors or majors to honors. You can add a minor or two. And to change streams, it's the second bulletin is current majors, change to or remain in. It's computer science honors, and then it could also be something like computer science software engineer, computer science cybersecurity. You can change your streams from there. Next slide.
Okay, so I'm Kelly, and I'm just going to be giving you guys some additional useful information that you should know. So first we have the Carleton Academic Calendar. This is basically a school calendar with all the important dates you need to know, so you should definitely check it out at some point. You should definitely be aware of when it's the last day to register or withdraw from courses, and it also tells you when we don't have school. So on the bottom right, there's a picture of the department recommended schedule for first years. It is recommended you follow this outline, but I'm just going to give you guys a couple of other options that many other students have done. First of all, the 2 math courses can be taken in either order, or you could also consider taking the second year math course in the winter that follows the first year one you do in the fall. So for example, you could do Calc 1 in the fall followed by Calc 2 in the winter. That way, everything you learn in the fall is still fresh in your head. You can also take the second year stats course, as mentioned earlier, during your first year because there's no prerequisites. Personally, this is what I did, and I'm really glad I got it over with because it gives you more leeway in your second year. And then lastly, Comp 1805, which is listed under the winter term, can be taken in the fall term. So this is the prerequisite tree for the mandatory comp sci courses, and it's basically like the comp sci Bible along with the undergrad calendar. The important things to notice here is that Comp 2401 and 2402 branch out to the most upper year courses, so you're almost going to want to prioritize them so you can start taking those upper year courses faster. So this is actually a question most first years have, which is what's the difference between breadth-free and prohibited electives? First, prohibited courses are courses you can't take, it just won't count towards your degree. On the right, you can see some examples of prohibited courses, and it's usually just because the material overlaps with the courses that we already have to take. For breadth electives, it's basically any course that's not comp sci, math, stats, or engineering. Then your free electives can be any course, and you typically need more breadth electives than free electives, but if you go over your breadth requirement, they just start counting as free. If you're in honors computer science, you can choose between a few streams. A stream or specialization basically gives you an additional set of mandatory courses that help you focus your knowledge to a more specific field or topic. By being in a certain stream, you will get priority for those additional courses that are needed. So what some people like to do is they'll hop between streams to get priority for specific courses they want to take. And it's also super easy to change your stream. You can just do it right on Carleton Central. Right now, the business and game dev streams are the only ones which require first year courses, but it's super important that you're always checking the undergrad calendar because these streams are always changing. Another really common question is about what electives you should take because as comp sci students, you have a lot of electives. The school requires you to take electives because they want you to be like a well-rounded student. So honestly, our biggest suggestion is to take electives that you're interested in. At the end of the day, an easy course can become boring or hard if it's about something you don't really care for. Another thing you can think about using your electives to do is to do a minor. Comp sci students can actually have up to 2 program elements, as in like minors or specializations. One last little tip is to save electives that are usually online for when you're on your co-op term or to do during the summer, so you don't have to be on campus during those times. So these are just some of the most common electives that CS students take. The most common elective that most people take is probably Mysteries of the Mind. The prof, Jim Davies, is a really good lecturer and he makes the content pretty interesting. Then a lot of people also take Philosophy 2001 because the material at the beginning overlaps with a lot of concepts from Comp 1805. So this is just a big list of some popular electives that we categorize. There's science, which is fun if you're into that. I've heard that a lot of the earth science courses are really interesting. And languages, you could also use your electives to learn a new language that you've always wanted to learn, which is super cool. Personally, I took Intro to Korean and I found it really fun. And then writings, sometimes it's nice to take a break from all the coding and math classes and just write a few essays. So there's a good amount of those. Then there's a few memorization-based courses. I just want to point out that Psych 1 and 2, since like those are really popular electives, should also be under like memorization, or I mean, should also be under reading, because you're assigned a lot of textbook readings each week, and then you have to also remember that information for midterms and exams. But that's not to like scare you from taking it because psychology is still super interesting. If you took AP classes in high school and got a level 4 on the AP exam, you could potentially get advanced standing credit, which essentially is like your AP credit transfers into a university credit. So if you took AP classes, definitely check that out. Now laptop recommendations. So the School of Computer Science has a list of laptop requirements that's listed right here. And it's important to note that the game dev stream has different requirements. A lot of people are always wondering if you can use a MacBook for this program, and the answer is yes, you can, but you're going to have to do a good amount of workarounds. For example, the first issue you're probably going to run into is in first year when you're doing Java FX in Comp 1406. There's some extra configurations that you're going to have to do, and then like the main issue is going to be like in second year when you run into some compatibility issues with virtualization machines. But there is always a solution to the issues you run into on Mac. It's really just about if you're down to spend that extra time to work around it. Then some other general suggestions is to get a good laptop with battery life so you're not always looking for an outlet, and you should get one that's lightweight because you're going to be carrying it around everywhere. And for more specific laptop suggestions, there aren't really any, but anything from the Dell XPS line or Lenovo is pretty solid, and I've seen those like the most in my classes.
All right, thank you, everybody. Now we're starting getting into the student panel section. Before we really start the panel, I just want to preface that this is just advice from general students, and we all work our own path, and our paths won't always align with your path in general. So please take this with a grain of salt, but I know it's really daunting to compare yourself to others, and you should ultimately do what's best for you. And so please use most of our advice as a guide or suggestion, instead of like an objective fact of what you should be really doing. On top of that, please don't spam the panelists for the questions until if they tell you it's fine. we have the questions listed beforehand, so we're going to try to go through first, and then if we have time, you guys can start asking questions in the Zoom call. So before we begin, let's go around in the round table, and we're gonna give a quick small introduction. I know we kind of did a small introduction in the beginning, but this time we'll do another smaller introduction around the table. Just say your standing, if you have a stream. On top of that, did you take the Z section? Have you TA'd before? If you're international students, let us know. And on top of that, if there's anything interesting in your background or insights, just please, this is a good time to explain to tell us. So Kelly, if you don't mind to start us off.
So hi again, my name is Kelly, and I'm currently a second year in the software engineering stream with a minor in psychology.
Hello, my name is John. I'm also in second year. I'm doing a minor in math, and I come from the GTA.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm a second year standing. I have a minor in business entrepreneurship. I did take the Z section, and I'm from Ottawa.
Hello, I'm Shirley. I'm a third year and I have a minor in Japanese. Definitely keep the wording of making sure your two courses have good distance, because I took a Japanese course and another tutorial that was in the low, one was in the Rest Commons. If you don't know those building names, it's okay. Just know that physical distance, it was at least like a 12-minute walk if I like speed walk. So don't do that to yourself. Don't make yourself tired between classes. So yeah, there's that.
Hi, I'm Laura. I'm currently a third year student in the game dev stream and pursuing a minor in mathematics.
Hi, my name is Naziha. I'm a fourth year comp sci student in cybersecurity. I'm also an international student from Bangladesh. And yes, I have TA'd at Carleton before for COM 1405, but not for Section C.
Hello, my name is Richard. I'm a fourth year minoring in biology and Greek and Roman studies. Yes, it's kind of weird. I did not take the Z section, but I've TA'd for 2406, which is a web development course that you guys will take in second year for around 2 years. And one thing that I would like to mention is that if you're registered in, or if you're going to be taking the Comp Matters, you might see me there because I'll be the teaching assistant there.
And lastly, my name is Victor. Currently, I'm a fourth year. I'm in the cybersecurity stream. I used to be in the AI stream, but I saw there's more cybersecurity streams more interesting, so I swapped between those there. I did not take the Z section. I'm not TA'd, unfortunately, but I do a lot of private tutoring at Carleton. I'm from Toronto, and yeah, that's just basically a general idea of who I am. So I guess the first thing we can ask about is like, a lot of students be asking what electives have you been taking? So I guess we just go around it and ask, what's like one breadth elective you have taken and what you've really liked, and is there any specific course that you don't like, and why specifically you don't like that in general? So I guess we can just start from Kelly and we just go around from there.
So one breadth elective I took, I think I already mentioned this earlier, but Korean, I thought that was really fun, and it's a good idea to use your electives to like try to learn something that you've always wanted to learn, so like a language. And then did you say a course that I didn't like, or
a course that you personally didn't like, and why didn't you like it?
Honestly, I liked all the electives I took because like I took everything that like I was really interested in, like psychology and then the Korean, and then I took stats. I actually really liked stats, and like I'm considering taking up a minor in stats too. So yeah, I recommend taking stats in your first year.
So one course I liked and one course I personally didn't like. The course I liked was Anthropology 1001. I thought it was pretty fun, even though I had to write an essay, but it was only one essay every 2 weeks. And the prof always had the slides on hand. One course I personally didn't like was Psychology 1001 and 1002. 30 to 40 pages of reading per week was a lot. And I think the only reason I got through it was because the prof made a study guide for what to take notes on. Yeah.
Yeah, so I took in my first year, I took linguistics 1100. I just wanted to take it because it sounded interesting. It's a pretty light class, some writing, which is a change from just coding all day, which is nice. I personally liked pretty much all my courses, but beware on the math courses, they have 50% exams, and those can hurt a little bit if you didn't study all that much, but yeah.
Okay, so I guess an elective I liked and didn't like. So I guess an elective I really liked was the Japanese, but if you didn't know, in language courses in Carleton, you have to kind of do a test. I'm not sure if it's just for Japanese, pretty sure it's all language courses, basically to determine your level and put you in like appropriate course. Because if you're like a veteran in that language, but you still take the 1000 level, that's not really great. So for me, I actually was put in the 2110, I believe. It was like a 1.0 credit. It was only in one term. It was like 4 courses for like sections per week. It was a lot of work, a lot of like courses, but it was very fun because I like learning about Japanese, and it was overall. So if you're interested in learning Japanese, I would recommend taking the Japanese courses at Carleton. All the professors I've met are pretty wonderful. And regarding the electives, I didn't like. I don't actually have one I strongly dislike. There is just one course that I not the most favorable, and that's not because of the content. It's film studies. I believe it's the Windows section, but that's only because it's a purely, I should have expected, it's purely online. So it was a lot less interactive than I expected. So definitely keep that in mind when you're taking online courses. If you're really interested in the content of the online course, it might be a lot less, I guess, fun compared to, I guess, in real life. Because with my philosophy or as psychology courses, I was in the classroom, so the professor was, interactive. They asked questions, they answered questions, students gave questions, so I could learn a lot more. But when it's online, it's a lot less. People ask a lot less questions. So it's, a little bit less fun. So.
I guess one elective that I personally liked was Introduction to Creative Writing, which is like, once again, it kind of takes my mind off of coding. There is a lot of writing, like you write a short story based on a prompt, so it might not be like to everyone's preference. I personally didn't have an elective that I disliked, since a lot of the electives I chose were geared to my personal interests.
Kind of in a similar boat with Laura. I didn't really have an elective that I did not like. Guys, pro tip, only take electives that you would enjoy. But one course that I really liked was the Stat 2509. The 2507 is the required one, but I enjoyed it too much, so I ended up taking 2509, which was my breadth elective. But it, in my opinion, I think is more enjoyable than 2507.
I think the electives that I really enjoyed was Earth 2415. It's natural disasters course, and I'm just interested in learning about natural disasters. The course was mostly multiple choice questions for both your quizzes and exams, so I think that was pretty easy. One thing I would like to say is maybe try save 1000 level electives for upper years if you can, because they're usually easier and you can take them when you have to take more difficult comm courses. So that would make your semester lighter. One course I did not particularly like was Psych 2400, which was Intro to Forensic Psychology. I just thought it was not something that I expected it to be, and it was also a lot of reading and memorization. So I would avoid psychology courses if you're really not into memorization and reading.
For myself, one elective I really liked was, there's a 3rd-year math course. It's called Analysis of Games of Chance. I call it the gambling course because all you see is the professor really gambling in class. He wants, set $300 and, may have lost all 300. Another day he wins 500. It's really fun, very interesting. Most of the topics is kind of what you learn from Comp 2804. This is really helpful. Personally, I really like that course. The professor made it really fun. A lot of fun and jokes were really made. The only And on top of that, this course can also replace your 2000 math as well. However, it is also offered every 2 years in the winter semester with 50 people allowed inside it. So it's a very hard course to get into. So don't rely on this course, but it's a super really fun course. I highly recommend it. And on top of that, apparently, instead of just doing math equations, apparently you can send like code answers and the professor will be like, oh, that's good enough. 100, great, that works. So that's really cool. One elective that I personally don't like was, what was that course? It was the, I forgot about that. I think it was, oh yeah, it was natural history. I didn't really like it because there's a lot of memorization and it was really dry. So I don't know, I didn't like that one personally. So that's just my course that I don't really like that well. The next thing is, I think a lot of students be asking a lot of questions about like the specific Z sections at hand. I think out of our panelists here, John and Ryan has taken the Z section. I'll just give the question to Ryan. How was taking the Z section, and did you wish like after taking Z section, do you regret taking the Z section? Was it like really beneficial for you? And is there anything you wish you knew ahead of time before you took Z section? And once you took the Z section, how did you find the second year comp courses in your first year winter?
All right, yeah. So I do not regret at all taking it. I found it really nice. Just a bit of background, I knew how to program before high school, so that's a bit different. If you haven't had experience, maybe you should consider taking the regular ones to get a background. But basically, there are weekly assignments. Every 4 to 5 weeks, there's like a midterm or a final, and then there is a final project, which is a bit bigger. Anything I wish I knew? Not really. Obviously, like if you're learning from scratch, if you want to take the Z section, you should be like confident you can learn pretty quickly because there are new topics every single week, actually like twice a week. If I took the I did 2000 level courses. So I took Comp 2402, which is data structures and algorithms. It's one of the courses that is known to be a bit harder than the others, so that was a bit expected. It was harder than Z section though. But the good thing about the Z section is you are able to take courses before and make the load on your second year, because second year has a lot of new courses, new content. So if you can bring it a little bit into the first year, then that's really nice.
John, is there anything you want to add to that, or you want to explain more of experiences in your Z section as well? Because I believe you did the Z section last year.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, you're technically only ever taking 4 courses at a time in fall term, which I think was pretty cool. And the assignments also counted as the tutorial, so we only had 1 assignment per week instead of an assignment and a tutorial, which is sort of its own assignment anyway. So I love Z section. I definitely think it wasn't too challenging, and Prof. Dave McKenney is amazing. Yeah, I have nothing but good things to say.
That's good. I'll also now open this to the other panelists. For the people who hasn't taken the Z section, do you kind of regret taking the Z section in a sense? Do you wish you had taken it in the past? And how, without you taking the Z section, just doing the normal courses, how did you feel the normal process of just doing the courses regularly? Anyone, Richard, or actually Richard, do you want to start with this off?
Yeah, sure. But in my case, because I had 0 programming experience before coming into university, I obviously did not want to take the Z section. And I don't really regret taking the normal courses, obviously. I enjoy taking things slow and making sure I learn everything that course teaches. I feel like the skills that you learn in those courses are very essential in second year. So it is quite important to make sure you have a good fundamental built up on your first year.
Sounds good. Is anyone else that want to add on with their experience as well?
I guess I could. I actually did have some programming experience before coming to university, but I didn't take the Z section. So I feel like the normal, if you have programming experience, the normal non-Z section is definitely slow for a reason because it's towards people who don't have any programming experience. So I definitely probably, if I could travel back in time, probably would have taken the Z section just to, you know, it's not that it's a hard course, L14, L16, it's just that I would have probably preferred to just take them in that, one course. That way I don't have to worry about it in the next term, actually.
That's good. Laura or Nazia, would you like to add on to that as well?
It's pretty much what Richard said. I did not have any comp-sci experience before university, so I prefer taking the regular sections. Well, they did not have section Z when I was in first year, but if they did, I would still probably want to take the regular option.
That's good. If I put my 2 cents, if I can also put my 2 cents in, I came into university when Z section was offered. I did have some programming experience beforehand. However, I just felt that, I didn't really feel that comfortable taking the Z section. I felt it was also done in a really fast pace compared to most students. And I feel that, during that time, a lot of students in the Z section really struggled to get past it. So I was really happy I didn't pick the Z section. Also, I know a lot of students take the Z section trying to rush their entire degree. I'm really against students just trying to rush the degree, get the whole thing over with. You have your 5 years, because a lot of students just do all their comp sci credits, and then the last year they do all their electives. Personally, I don't kind of like that because because you basically have 1 year of just like not doing CS and not any programming experience at all. So that really kind of, you kind of get out of it in a sense, and then you kind of start lose motivation in school, and then, everything's downhill from there. The next thing is, I know we've been talking a lot about, stats, taking stat 257 within, first year, in the first year. So, I guess we'll just bring this to Laura. Did you take stats 257 in the first year? If you didn't, did you take stats in the first year? And also in comparison to the other, the 2000 math course, like how was like the difficulty level difference? And would you also recommend taking stats in first year as well?
So I did not take stats in the first year. There isn't really any particular reason why. I took it in the second year. I don't think it was like, sorry, what were the other questions?
Yeah, it's okay. In comparison to like the other, like the second year math courses, how like can you like talk about the difficulty compared to those as well?
I think they were more or less kind of the same difficulty, just in different areas. So if you're like weaker in, let's say, linear algebra and then stats, you might need to put in a little more effort into that. But all in all, I'd say it's kind of more or less the same.
Sounds good. I guess now I can open it to the other panelists to talk more about. I think Kelly. Did you take this? I think you took stats in first year, right? I think you're talking about that.
Yeah, I did.
Like how did you find it within first year? How was like the workload? Did you find it like, was it a bit more difficult in a sense? And like, would you like recommend it to other students to do like this?
Yeah, so personally, I'm like not a strong like math student. Like math is kind of like my weak point. And I also went into the stats class like with no prior stats experience. I know a lot of people say like some people take like the data management class in high school in grade 12 and like it's basically the same thing, but I didn't take that and I still went into the stats class and I found it easier than the 2 first year math courses that we had to do, like Calc 1 and linear algebra. So, and I really enjoyed it. And I think it was mostly like my prof. I think my professor's name was Ahmed Al-Muscat, and he was like a really good lecturer. And he just made the concepts like really easy to understand. So yeah, I think it was mostly my prof looking back at it that made the course really enjoyable.
That's good. Is there any people that has taken stats in first year? that would like to share their experiences as well?
Yeah, I'll add on to that. What Kelly just mentioned is very important. There's this prof, Ahmed, I don't know his last name, but he is the very best prof that you can get in stats. I took 2507 with him when I was in first year. It was very easy, very enjoyable. I think again, he was the main reason why it went so smoothly. So when I saw that, he also taught 2509, I decided to just take it without thinking. So yeah, I would totally recommend to take it in first year. I don't think it was any more difficult than other first year math courses that I had, or even compared to 1805. So if you see Ahmed's section is open, consider going for it.
One thing I would like to add is that I also took 2507 in first year, but I took it with 2804. So 2507 and 2804 do have a lot of overlap. Even if you don't plan on taking 2804 in first year, it would always be helpful if you could take 2507 before 2804. So that's one piece of advice I have.
If I can give my 2 cents, I had Agnes Benhin as my Stat 2507 prof. She's also wonderful. Some other stuff is, I also think Stat 2507 is easier than Calc 2007, which is the Calc 2 class. In terms of like content, the first 1 month or 2 months is mostly about mean, median, and mode. So they definitely ease you into it. You're not rushing anything, or you're not gonna die from 1,000 new concepts.
I'll also put I'll just add on the final remarks. On top of that, if you guys remember the second year slide, you guys have 2401, 2402, 2404, 2406, 2804, and Stats 2507. Those like 6 courses that most students will do in second year. Most of those like second year comp courses are very really heavy, or really assignment based. So in a sense, if you take like, most students might take like 3 of those in 1 semester, and you have a 2401 assignment, then you have another 2402 assignment, then you have a 2406 assignment, and it's like assignment over assignment over assignment. And at 20, and also Stat 2507 is also kind of assignment based, so you're going to be just grinding a lot of assignments in second year. So getting 2507 just done, all gone, and finish all that fun stuff. You don't have to worry about that, and basically just make your second year a tad bit lighter as well. Also, the gambling course, one of the prerequisites, it's Stats 2507. So, get that done and you can get that gambling course. So yeah, that's really cool. I think we'll go for our next question. I believe there's many international students coming into Carleton, and I think, I'll give this to Naziha, and it's like, as an international student, is there any like how did it like affect your course registration? What differs in your opinion from like an international student into like for more of a domestic student in a sense? And is there anything in hindsight beforehand coming into like Carleton that you wish you knew in hindsight that you want to know other international students to know as they approach into first year?
Sure. Well, first about the different time zones or course registration. For your time ticket, I don't believe it affects if you're an international student, because it's dependent on your year standing and student number. One thing I would say is that the registration time tickets are Eastern Standard Time, which might be, for example, 4 a.m. in the morning for you in your home country. So try to register exactly when your time ticket opens, even if it's like an odd time for you, because courses do get like full very quickly for first years. What differs for being an international student? Well, yes, navigating a new country and city is always different. There could be a cultural or language difference, but at the same time, you're having the opportunity to experience new traditions, like different job opportunities. You have to get familiar with the law here, the healthcare system, taxes, teaching styles. So that's like definitely differs from being a domestic student. Something I wish I knew at that time would be, well, if you should, and if you can't, you should learn how to drive when you're already in your home country, because I did not know how to drive, and driving lessons here are extremely expensive. Learn how to cook before you come here, and once you're here, definitely try to build a strong network, try to befriend local students, and you have to be very patient and try to embrace the culture here. Before school starts, maybe like try to explore Ottawa, the campus, the public transit here. And one important thing is make sure you get your social insurance number once you come to Canada, and explore part-time job opportunities that can be like permitted by your study permit. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I'll move on to the next question. Unfortunately, she's the only international student here, so I can't. Most of us can't really relay, unfortunately. My next question is more of the game development stream. I know out of all the most of the programs, game development's within first year, and I saw on our Discord a lot of people are having questions about specific questions about game development. So I guess I'll push this to Laura because she is a third year in game development. As a game development as courses, what kind of things you can expect within first year. Is there any other additional specific courses that can help you in game development, or what to expect? And overall, how is the general experience of game development?
So to preface this, I've only taken the first 2 required game dev courses. The first year is kind of just, well, back when I took it, things might have changed now, I heard. The first year is basically just kind of introducing you to like what games are, and then you do like create some of these mini games depending on the focus of the assignment. And then second year is where they start to get into 2D graphics specifically and building your quote unquote game up from bottom up using OpenGL as a tool and C++, which involves linear algebra. So in addition to those game dev courses, I'd also recommend taking linear algebra, or at least have a solid understanding of those concepts, because these will come up in 2D graphics. And I think the third year course will focus on 3D graphics.
All right, thank you so much. I guess the next question is, more of a big, larger roundtable kind of question. More of the a lot of students, have really difficulties or just so many options of finding specific laptops for technology for programming. So most students usually buy like new laptops or computers prior to coming to university. So what are like your current setups, and or what did you have, or would you recommend to first years for incoming students to what they should have for first year? I guess I'll bring us to Ryan first.
So yeah, I personally have like a computer at home and then a laptop. The laptop, I think the processor, anything modern, basically. I really recommend 16 gigabytes of RAM if possible. It makes your life a lot easier. If not, anything works. Especially for first year, but second year, once you start using virtual machines, then it gets a bit more intensive. There is the option to use OpenStack on campus, but you should try to get a computer that's good.
Is anyone else want to share how they what their specific setups within like right now or within the first years you wish you want to know?
So yeah, sure. I don't have a computer at home, although I live in Ottawa, like with my family. I just have one laptop, and at home I just have 2 monitors. So I just bring around the laptop and I hook up my laptop to the monitors when I get home, and I just use it there with the keyboard. But one thing that I would definitely recommend is having 2 monitors. Like even if you just want to stick on using your laptop, like have at least one more monitor, so you can you have your code on one of the monitors and search up stuff on Google or whatever, or look at lecture notes on the other screen. I feel like that's very essential. As for the laptop itself, because I'm doing a minor in biology, I knew I had to take a lot of notes, and I didn't want to take notes on paper, so I got a computer that allows me to with a touchscreen that allows me to draw on PDFs directly. So I got a Surface. It's kind of overpriced, but it has decent build. But I didn't get anything too powerful, just i5 and 8 gigs. And it's totally fine. It's definitely more than enough.
Sounds good. Anyone else before I give my 2 cents?
Yeah, I guess I could share some tips as well. So my setup is just a laptop and it's the Lenovo ThinkPad X1. My tips regarding laptop is not to stress too much about if you're getting a new laptop for university. One, because laptops need, usually their lifespan aren't extremely long unless you really like focus on maintaining them. So usually a lot of laptops will have like a 4 to 5, 6 year lifespan, and your university degree is probably around 4 to 5 years around. So by the time you get into your workplace where you're probably more serious about, actually you might get worked up about working, you'll probably be getting upgrade into a more, I guess, sturdier or more expensive laptop. Right now your budget's probably a little bit less, so it's okay to get a laptop that isn't as good as you expected. Also because laptops, because you'll be primarily learning in university, it's much better to make them something that's portable, so they're lightweight. Definitely don't have a 17, 18-inch laptop that's like 3 kilograms or something. It's gonna make your back hurt. Do not recommend. And also make sure your laptop is something that has good batteries. Already have been mentioned before, but a lot of the classrooms on campus don't have, well, they have ports, but it's like one port per 1 row or 2, 3 rows of seats. So unless you're like extra early, you're not going to be able to charge your laptop, and you don't want to have it like die on you in the middle of class and then you're just stuck there not being able to do anything. So definitely make them important. Also, if you're worried that the laptop screen, if you get a smaller size, you're not going to be able to see. As recommended before, I definitely recommend getting multiple monitors than just getting your laptop and making it super big. It's not really worth it to get a larger laptop just because you want a larger screen. If you want more like screen and space and whatnot, I recommend just getting a separate monitor that's like, you can get a very big monitor for a slightly less price, but if you get a large laptop, it's more expensive and it's gonna make it heavier. So yeah, that's my general tips.
I should mention, oh, sorry.
No, no, go,
I
go,
should
go.
mention that if you're in the game development stream, you are required to, your laptop should have a GPU and run Windows 10, or at least Windows 10 since Windows 11 exists now. Because you use DirectX that runs on Microsoft. Yeah.
Sounds good. For myself, I use a Mac. I'm in the Mac world, and yes, it is very possible to use a Mac. However, I think Kelly mentioned this earlier in the early presentation, you have to do a lot of workarounds. Sometimes it gets really annoying, but in the end, there is a certain workaround. You just have to find it, and it works in the end. But it does require more effort. Personally, I like Mac bit better because the OS is just nicer, just more developer friendly. But for specific courses, it might get a little bit kind of annoying, but it is what it is. I'll just move on to like another next question. More of I guess like what do you guys think like causes most like incoming students not to be like successful in their first year of university? You know, what kind of like piece of advice you would give to a first year that you wish that you kind of knew back when you're in first year? I guess I'll give this to Kelly to start off with.
Yeah, so I feel like the thing that kind of trips up most first years is like in high school, I guess, like everything's a lot more like handheld with your teachers and everything. And like you have like a fixed schedule, you're just at school for a certain amount of time kind of thing. You become more independent in university, and then you have to keep track of your own deadlines and like everything that you have to do. It's not on like your teachers anymore. Like the profs still do care, but like they're not gonna be like emailing you like, oh hey, like you're missing this and stuff like that. So I recommend like time management is super important. One thing I would recommend doing is going through all your courses syllabus at the beginning of the year and then just like putting them into like your Google Calendar or like Notion, whatever your thing is of choice to organize like all your stuff. And then just putting in all the deadlines, like due dates, and then when the tests are and quizzes and your exams, midterms, just so it's like a really nice visual for you to kind of see like what you should be prioritizing and like, oh, what due date is coming up. That was something that helped me a lot.
Would anyone else want to give a good feedback?
Yeah, sure. Now, one thing that I wished that I did in first year, or a tip for incoming first years to be successful, is to not be shy to ask for help. So in all your courses, you're gonna have TAs and the profs that you can attend office hours to. If you have anything in the lecture that you did not understand in that week, make sure to attend the office hour in that week and get that problem resolved. Don't carry around, open gaps in knowledge for multiple weeks, or it might hurt you when you're trying to do assignment. And other than that, if you're doing math or stats courses, there is a thing called math/stats help center. You can either access it via online using Brightspace, or you can find the physical location in Third Floor Herzberg. They really can answer all the questions you have regarding math and stats courses. So it's a great place to go if you need help. One last organization that I would kind of like to add is a thing called SSSC. It's called Science Student Success Center. Because we're technically under Faculty of Science, it's where all science students can go and kind of like ask for help if you're struggling with courses. If you're also in like any special situations, such as if you're an international student, if you're a mature student, and you want to see other upper year students who are international or mature as well, you can hit them up, ask to be signed up with a mentor, and get some help that you need. So like, don't be shy to go around and actively get help, and it might really help you a lot.
If I could add something, that would be, I think no one talks about how lonely university can get sometimes. So it's very easy to feel isolated, stressed if you're an international student, or even if you're not an international student, you can always get very homesick. So I think building a strong support network is very important, and always seek for mental and emotional support. There's a lot of campus support services available. So if you think you need that, then do reach out. And it's important that you establish like a healthy work-life balance and get proper sleep, which honestly I still struggle with. But yeah, that is something that you definitely should try.
That's good. Anyone else wants to give their 2 cents on this? Or not 2 cents on this, 2 cents on the topic at hand? I guess I'll finish off. What I really would recommend is time management. Time management is really important in university. The great thing about university is they give you most courses will give you all the specific deadlines of that specific course. So you know ahead of time when the course, that specific assignment or test is due or when it's at. So it's a great way to plan out entire schedule, because once you get university, there's like way more responsibility that you have to do. Like for myself, I have to pay my bills. I'm currently on 5 sports teams, so I kind of have to like schedule my time around that. Like maybe you won't be as crazy as me doing like 5 sports teams, but like the way you're gonna be a bit more busier doing more stuff in university. So making sure having a time schedule and sticking to that specific time schedule and making a routine every single day is really important to move forward. What I use is I use Notion. Notion is a really great application for time management. You can also do notes as well on that. So that application is pretty good. I think there's a new one called Obsidian. You can try out Obsidian. I'm trying out Obsidian for note taking right this last semester. It's pretty good. So that's just my general take. That's mainly most of the questions at hand. If you have any questions for like the panelists, you can put them in the Zoom call or in the Zoom chat, and then we can try to answer them so far. Which it seems that what you guys been doing the entire time, so it do be like that. Is there any specific questions you want to ask panelists? It's a good time to start putting in the chat. It's also 1:04, so I guess we can quickly move it to 1:15. And then if there's still a lot of questions, I will end the Zoom call, but we're going to move it to our Discord. For co-op, co-op usually starts in second year summer, the summer of the second year generally. However, you can go for your first work term in the first. You can go your first work term in the first year in the summer, but usually that's kind of optional. You have to find your own internship, unfortunately, but the school will support you when it's second year afterwards.
Also, if you think you're going to be busy in your second year summer, you can move around your work. They call it work study schedule or something. You can email the co-op people, admin, and then get that sorted out. I started mine in like third year?
Comp matters in person or online? Richard, would you like to take that one?
It's in person. It's in person. You're gonna get to see me. I heard it's like there's gonna be like a semi-lecture-ish thing in the morning, and then in the afternoon, you guys are gonna be working on your little assignments. And myself and one other TA is gonna be going around and helping around. I heard it's gonna be fun. I would totally recommend it.
The Z section. Oh, Ryan already answered that one. MacBook or Android. I think getting a MacBook is a bit better than an Android. It's just if you're doing programming, I think you have to download like Python and whatever. I don't think you can do that in Android. So I prefer you get like a MacBook in that sense. How
Yeah,
many courses do you need?
Wait, I wonder if the student means Windows or Android. I don't know.
Maybe.
Android
I'm
is
not
just
sure. I'm
Linux.
just-
Yeah, Android is for phones usually, unless
Yeah.
they started making laptops, which
I don't recommend programming coding on your phone. It's not worth it. Your hands are not, your thumbs are gonna fall off. How many courses that you need in first year? For me, I took 5 courses in first year. 5 courses in the fall, 5 courses in the winter. So 10 in total. Usually, if you want to graduate on time, you should take within 4 years, without including co-op. So 4 years, or with co-op is 5 years. But if you want to graduate on time, you usually want to take 5 courses a semester. However, most students find 5 courses a semester is a bit too heavy, so they'll drop that to 4.
you can even drop it to 3 and you'll still be considered as a full-time student. It's a good thing about
However, I think with 3, your OSAP course load is going to be 60%, so you might get a lower OSAP grant or something like that. So keep that in mind if you're applying for financial aid.
Also, if you're in co-op, you need to take at least 2 credits per term.
Yes, that is all important. And also, there's a grade requirement for co-op as well. Adina, was it 8 CGPA of 8 or
8
something
for
like
co-op,
that?
yeah.
Yes.
And also
8 for co-op, right? Yeah.
8 overall and 8 major CGPA,
Yes.
which is a B
Also
average.
to differentiate. Yeah, sorry. Also, there's 2 CGPAs people usually ask. There's a major CGPA and overall CGPA. So your major CGPA is all your courses in your major, so the average of all your major courses, and the overall is including it's the major and the electives ones as well. Oh my God. How many courses you should take as a full-time student? I personally recommend start off with 5 per semester. See how that takes you. I feel 5 is pretty good enough, but some students might take 4. Did anyone take 4 in the first semester? Or did anyone like drop from 5 to 4 in the first semester in the panel here?
Yes, I think it was the winter of my first year, and for my entire second year, I just did 4 courses. I kind of regret it because I'm currently trying to make it up by doing 1 course during my co-op terms. And yeah.
So preferably take, on top of that, there's also a cool strategy that I want to mention about as well. So if most of you guys know, the first year is kind of the optional. Have you guys seen that? What I did a full-time course load in the summer. So I took 4 courses in the summer. From that 4 courses in the summer, I was able to reduce my course load from 5 to 4 for my 3rd year and 4th year. From that, instead of just doing the normal 5 to graduate on time, now I can do the last courses 4 courses, and I can still graduate within 4 or 5 years.
A lot of questions about Z section coming in repeatedly, and guys, it seems like 90% is like the final deal. So
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty rock
Thank
solid.
you. Hi, everyone. Can I say a few words?
Yeah,
of course.
Okay, hi, everybody. My name is Adina. I'm one of the undergraduate advisors in the School of Computer Science. Welcome to Carleton and welcome to the school and welcome to Ottawa if you're new. There are 3 advisors total. I'm the one that's been at the school the longest, and I did this last year too, so that's why I'm here. The other two advisors are Anna and Mark, and the email is scs.ug.advisor@carleton.ca. Please feel free to send us an email with your student number and from your Carleton CMail account, and we're happy to answer any and all questions, including co-op questions, how to add a minor, how to change streams, and all of that. So some students do have the same questions. I've tried to answer some in the chat. I hope you don't mind, Victor.
Of course, no.
Section Z questions seem to be very popular. So yes, you must have an admit average of 90% or above, because these accelerated sections of the first two programming courses were originally created for the dev degree students. So the dev degree students will be taking those sections, but then we expanded it to the really high achieving students with that 90% or above admit. So there's only 70 seats. Now, if your admit average is super close, we can take a look. It's going to be space permitting anyway, because if it did fill up last year. But I just want everybody to understand that it's not really a choice. I mean, it is a choice, but only if you have the 90% or above. Okay, so we don't want to disadvantage any students with a lower admit average, putting them into these accelerated sections. So that's why we have this minimum percentage. If you know or you're not sure what your admit average is, we can check for you. So send us an email. So first year registration starts June 28th. The time tickets for first year students, so coming from high school, June 20th to the 30th. So before that date, you can send us an email. And if you do meet that minimum 90%, we can give you the override next week. I don't know, we don't normally work on the weekends, okay? So we won't see your email till Monday, but we can look you up and then we can give you the override right away. And then you can register when your time ticket opens. If you want to email us after your time ticket opens, you can still do that, or you can put in the override request on Carleton Central. If you do that, you don't have to email us, okay? So either the override request or before that email. Does that make sense? And we'll look you up and we'll let you know if you're eligible or not. Okay, so that's kind of the way it works. I know some students do ask for exceptions, but it's not always a good idea, like I think Victor said, to rush through your courses and really try and be mindful of your workload. So don't just load up on computer science courses, and especially these accelerated courses, because you might find it a little daunting after the pace you're used to in high school. So I do hear that from students, where it's like not what they expected in first year university. And so just be mindful, and it's good to get the feedback from your fellow, like the student panel here and all of that. Okay, so I hope that answers the questions about section Z. So you can email us. It might take us a couple of days to get back to you. We're going into our very, very busy period. So we do have a lot of emails, but between the three advisors, we should get back to you within a day or two, okay? And if anybody, I'm happy to answer any questions here. I just know we're on a time limit, but you can also come and visit us in our office in 5302 Hertzberg if you're in Ottawa on campus, or just send us an email, okay? So good luck, everybody, and have a great summer. And let me know if you have other questions. Thank you, Victor.
And no problem. So I want to add on to what Adina kind of said earlier. Like the thing, even it's also better not to take an accelerated course, because 1405 they treat most computer science everyone who takes that course as like a fresh programmer, no experience at all. First year is also time getting used to what to expect in university. So if you just want to rush into it and just getting all the hard nitty-gritty kind of stuff out, it's also recommended. This is my personal opinion, get like a higher CGPA overall within first and second year. So as you start third and fourth year harder courses, that can buffer room, that can help you with your grades as well. On top of that, when you get your your first co-ops or whatever, unfortunately, you don't really, most students I've seen so far don't really have a lot of side projects, don't have any work experience. So the only thing that's gunning for you is your grades. So if you want to, just gun for it and, not do as well, that will kind of, lower your CGPA in the end. And that might, it doesn't really affect it, but there's that stuff to consider as well. It is also 1:15 now, 1:16. I said it was most of the panelists might have to go. I do not want them to stay here for 3 hours. I can probably stay for 3 hours. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna probably move to the Discord channel. So I will sit here with Discord channel. You can ask me questions one-on-one. It's kind of a little office hour kind of event as well. On top of that, on Wednesday at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, if I remember, we're going to kind of most of your course time tickets will start opening at that time period of time. So I will also sit in that call with more other students. So if you have any questions like on the day of how to register, we'll be there. You can ask your questions on the day of. On top of that, on this next week on Saturday, we'll have a speed friending kind of event as well. So if you want to meet, other students in computer science, talk to me personally, learn more about what to expect in Carleton Computer Science, great opportunities, meet upper years, it's super fun thing, meet your peers as well. So Richard, if you don't mind, can you send the or someone in the board, can someone send the link to our Discord channel into the Zoom call? I'll wait for 5 minutes. So yeah, I'm gonna conclude the presentation here. Thank you so much for everyone here to be joining us. If you have any other questions or anything like that, join our Discord, and yeah, I'll see you there. I'll stay for 5 more minutes so everyone gets the link and moves to Discord. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll stop recording now.